Farce drifted alarmingly in the betting, was, fancied in the morning, continued to drift. It was late on the exchanges to lose. It was something you'd see in a Dick Francis novel, Charles Buttons.
The ground is soft, it's
heavy.
It's soft on times.
It's heavy.
Okay.
Hello and a warm welcome. It is that time of week again where we get to chew the fat and talk absolute nonsense about the sport of kings, that is British horse racing. Joining me for the sermon this week is back to the dynamic duo, or trio if you include me.
Duo,
Mr. John Lang and Chris. My name is Lee Keys and I'll be hosting the show if you've not listened to this before. I pity you if this is your first time.
Yes.
So, welcome, gentlemen.
Willkommen.
Hello,
yes.
You can see John is raring to go for this. He's like he's on pole position at Silverstone, ready to hit that first bend running. Yeah.
In a bathtub with wheels.
Extremely busy show this week. Got absolutely tons of questions. Just start the show off. Nice message I had from a young lad. Must be our youngest listener. He's 27. Toby Hawkins.
He's lying about his age.
I think so.
Of course he is. He's fucking in his 70s.
Been following racing since he was 6. Favourite horse was Holey McGurn, trained by Nigel Twiston Davis and Paddy Brennan. He likes our podcast very much because we talk sense and cut out all the bollocks that the rest are scared to talk about. The money's on its way, Toby.
Yeah. Is that right? 27? Is that the youngest listener that you're aware of?
Younger. We've got
Just
2.
about, yeah. That's horrendous, isn't it? Don't you think? God.
What's wrong with you people?
Yes, exactly. Fucking hell, we're down with the kids, fellow young people.
Yeah, we are.
We're hip.
We're more hip than the kids actually realise, I think.
We sound like David Jacobs on that fucking
Without further ado then, let's talk racing. Yesterday's racing, obviously Cheltenham Trials Day. And I'm going to start at Doncaster first because I just want to cover off the River Don because I felt that was a brilliant renewal. I think that's going to be a really strong form, the River Don. But I do think the principles, John, you wouldn't want to race them out too quickly, would you? It was end up being a hard slog, that, and they ended up strung out in the straight. And
the fact that the first 3 sort of got all up rides, didn't there? And it was quite attritional at the finish. You'd tend to think they'd put it all in, haven't they?
Yeah, like one of them 12-rounders, brutal.
Left it all on the battlefield, as Alistair Down would say.
Yeah. It was like George Foreman and Jerry Cooney.
A brutal battle if ever I saw one.
Yeah. Jerry Cooney must have thought, why am I getting up? I wouldn't have got up.
George could have hit you on your big toe and knocked you out, couldn't he?
He could. What a fantastic era for heavyweight boxing that was. And I'm sure the Americans actually would love to go back to them halcyon days where they got all the best heavyweight. So anyway, we'll talk about the winner, which is the Devil Una. I believe that's how you pronounce it. The Irish Raider, trained by Paul Nolan. Very impressive in the end. I was a bit delicate whether it would stay the trip. It was okay over 2.5, quite strong through the line, but I was always worried. 3 mile in testing ground, did it need it? Well, it actually improved for it. Nice to see Ruth Jefferson in second with Country Code. She's got a nice horse there. If she gives that a break until probably April time, bring that back for Air or Aintree. To be honest, John, I wouldn't want to see any of these turn up at the Fez.
I wouldn't be interested in backing any of them for sure.
No, there's some nice horses. There's an unexposed race. Because I even like the 4th horse, Kiko Law. I like the 5th, which is Price of Peace. They were the only 5 finishers. It shows you how attritional the race was. When you
the Ginger Riddler actually pronounced the winner Fedevaluno.
Fedevaluno. So that's sort of mine and John's take on the River Don. Follow the form, but don't be in a rush to back anything that comes out of that. If they bring it out in the next 3 weeks or something like that, that'd be a massive no for me. I'd want to see a proper break for anything that ran in that. But I think it's strong form. I'll put my bottom dollar on that. Then. So Trials Day, could you get up for Trials Day, John?
It would be getting up at 11:30 rather than getting up at 6. It's Trials Day in name only, isn't it? Because there's none of these going to win at Cheltenham, is there? Well, the big Cheltenham, the well one at Cheltenham, haven't they?
Maestro Conti for Desperate Dan, that's potentially a Triumph Hurdle contender. I can't see that being a big price for Triumph.
Round 10 up, won't he?
Yeah.
27.
It's beat the right ones, really. It's beat One Horse Town, who's got strong form. Minelli Yoga, which looked a proper prospect at Newbury. So it's beat the right two. So, yeah, I'd be positive about it.
Well, the trouble is, if you win one of these, like the Triumph Hurdle Trial, you're buggered out. You've got to go to the Triumph Hurdle.
Yeah.
There's nothing else. So
No.
he's going to run and he'll probably get bait.
Yeah. Jaguar had his colours lowered, and I'll be honest, fair play if anybody backed Donica, because that was one horse in the race I felt is what it is. 132 sort of sums him up. I didn't expect that, I'll be honest. I bet Jaguar backers will feel a bit sick, John, after that.
Yeah, do you think that's it now for Jaguar? That's as good as he is.
Well,
another £4 is going to fuck him, isn't it?
He's certainly not a Ryanair horse.
And when he got out battle there yesterday, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, there's no way that was for passing. He wasn't going past it at any point.
I thought Ed was coming up a bit on Jaguar. I'm maybe being a bit harsh for a bit of a ponce.
Well, I think they get like that, though, when the mark is high enough.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with that. I think the mark's high enough now. I'm not saying he can't win off it. I'm just saying it's getting there where it hurts now. A sport hurts.
So does Love. Love hurts. That's a massive song, isn't it?
Orbison, that, isn't it?
No. There was a cover by a fucking heavy metal band. That was fantastic.
I want to YouTube this later. I know the song. I can't remember who.
Love Hurts is Nazareth.
Superb version.
Yeah.
Sweaty Heavy's them.
Yeah. The song is composed by a bloke called Baudelaire Bryan. What a great name that is. First recorded by the Everly Brothers. Baudelaire Bryan wrote it. Wow, what a name.
You call your first bomb that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you
3 more races to review. We've had a few questions on this. So we'll go to the Cotswold Chase. Obviously, we very much value your questions. We've had a few saying they felt that Grey Dawning wasn't off. Dave Bradshaw's been on as well, and he said the running and riding of Grey Dawning. I've got to say, I didn't share that view, but I haven't spoke to you about the race, John. What people are forgetting, I'm a bit amazed, really. He was allowed to run. He got kicked at the start. I saw it.
We've had something like this similar, haven't we? We had one at Goodwood.
Yeah.
One of ours had a bruising encounter.
Well, it was the stalls, weren't it, the one at Goodwood? It went down, and they usually don't run them. But then
that's right, they had to drag it out by the hind legs, didn't they?
Yeah, it went berserk, and then they ran it, and I was furious because there's no chance that should have run on welfare grounds or anything. Well, we're going to get to welfare in a minute, but Grey Dawning for me, with that kick at the start, I think if I'm Harry Skelton, I'm saying I'm not running that. I just think it ran below form.
I think that would be nice. I mean, what happened to the yards? Dave Bradshaw's mentioned the riding. Personally, I think what Skelton's done there, I think he's comfortably had the baiting of the two that's actually bait him, Spillane's Tower and Long Press.
Yeah.
And he sat behind him thinking, I'm going to make this as easy as possible for the horse. I'll let him give me a lead to the last. I'll pop over that and I'll just ease away from him up the hill. Yeah,
if I were being critical of Skelton and I was a Grey Dawning backer, I'd say, what was he doing at the top of the hill? He gave them a lot of ground, didn't he? As if he expected them to just stop. And I don't think the pace they were at.
I think he underestimated what he was up against, basically. I don't think there was anything nefarious going on. But I certainly don't think they want the horse to have a hard race either. That's the risk you take in trial races, isn't it? You know, I mean, you'll get to the Craven Stakes in April, you know, and I mean, there won't be a lot of whips flying, will there?
No, they won't. Put it this way, none of them three, obviously Flooring Porters allegedly going for the Grand National, are Gold Cup contenders, are they?
Not for me. No.
Credit to Long Press, because Venetia's had a terrible, terrible season. I think a run stretches now to it's getting close to 50 runners in a row beaten.
She's getting a very, very small window now to show something, isn't she? Because she's usually already informed by now when they start tailing off towards festival time. So she's got about 5 weeks.
There's no to say that they can't turn it around. Steve Brown at Julie Camacho's, they've had a terrible time, and then this last week they've banged in, I think, 2 or 3 winners. It can turn after a wretched time. It could be bad feed. It could be they're all sick because they're not well. They're picking up bugs and a virus in the yard that's hard to get rid of. And I think that's it. It's not just down a getting them fit and turning them out and thinking, we're going to just crack on with the winners. So it could just change at any moment, and I'm waiting that a lot of their runners now will be becoming well handicapped.
I think she's worth having a close look at over the next few weeks, because I think there's been a few glimpses where the horses have run all right and you thought, another week. I wouldn't be surprised if she's a serious reign of form in the next 3 weeks, to be honest.
Yeah. Keep your eyes and ears open, listeners, because it could be very profitable, but you've got to be sharp, because the prices will start to tumble the minute she has a couple of winners on a day or something, then everything's going to get backed. So you're going to have to take some chances, maybe predict that she's coming back, and if you see another one place perhaps or run really well, then probably start backing them.
She's harder to read than the Salman Rushdie novel, isn't she?
Definitely deep. I mean, she's perfectly pleasant when you interview her, but she doesn't come out with very much. She's not one of them trainers like Endo.
She's no fucking help whatsoever.
No.
Might as well interview a cat.
Unibet hurdle ended very, very sadly. Sagino, it was a very distressing sight down the back. The horse went wrong. Hendo's given an update already. He said that it's not impossible this horse can come back, as he's had horses with similar injuries to this before. It's disappointing for National Hunt fans because, yet again, it's blown a big hole in the champion hurdle, hasn't it? Like, it's going to be a substandard year with State Man and Sagino out of the champion hurdle, John.
Christ, you could end up with one of them fillies winning it, couldn't you? God help us.
Has that ever happened? Yeah. Just last year. New Lion, for me, is not a 2-miler. I've said this.
Well, he's got absolute zero chance now, has he? I mean, he made hard work of going past them 2 fucking dollops, didn't he, yesterday?
Yeah. He needs stepping up in trip.
He ain't quick enough.
No, that was run on the new course, which is it's the 17 furlongs. It's a stiffer test, as in you've got that long sort of straight.
Yeah.
In comparison to old course, which obviously suits front runners. So it's an even quicker test of speed. If they go for the champion with a New Lion, they want their bumps for him.
If Fatty puts him in that, he might as well give him a go in the FA Cup.
Drawn in the first round against Barnet.
He'd go out.
Yes. Barnet versus the New Lion.
I'm back Barnet.
3:35 is the Temps Network Cleve hurdle, which we can do a Chris Pull and blow our trumpets, because we put out Marchand 2 on the Bar Stewards early bird service. 5-1 into 5-2. Very, very progressive. And I think this is a real serious contender, John, for the Steyn hurdle crown.
It's a very thin division.
If you take out the likes of Tearpoo, which is obviously got to be respected, I don't think it was a great race, the Cleve hurdle. They'd rated in Purs Trois 159, strong leader 156 or whatever. I didn't think they were worthy of them ratings. Marchand 2 was so impressive that I just think he's an horse that's still on the up. He's got an engine and there's more to come.
I think the runner-up will be better on quicker ground.
Possibly, yeah, I'll give you that. It might be better on good to soft rather than...
I don't think I'd want to be backing him to swap that for him.
No, even though he had to give £6 to Marchand 2, which obviously it's a stiff task.
He was well based at the end.
Like I said, I am not saying for 1 minute that Marchand 2 is a good thing for the Stayers hurdle, but 8-1 makes a little bit of appeal for me because I just think there is a lot more in the locker. He's got something about him that excites me. The way he can put races to bed when he wants, and sometimes he'll idle in front, sometimes he'll just destroy opponents without force. You don't need lots of persuaders. I like him. I just like him as an animal. I think more to come, but we'll see. 8-1 might not appeal to some, but I don't think it's too bad. I don't think there's that many contenders.
No.
I think it's the Steyn division's quite thin.
It's quite rotten, isn't it, really?
Yeah. I wouldn't go on official ratings and think, well, it's only got an official rating 144 before yesterday. I knew it was better than 144. I couldn't say it was better than 151 or something like that, but I certainly do now. I think it's probably late 150, something like that, with more to come, with a big capital P. And then, here we go. Let's go to the old Farce.
The lucky last.
Yes, the lucky last. Clerk of the course, Mr. A. Hull, was interviewed and grilled more like by Lydia, who turned back into Paxman all of a sudden after the last at Cheltenham.
Did she really? I don't know.
I was impressed, but...
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't see what all that fuss was about. I mean, I personally, I mean, you're going to say your bit, but I think I think had one of the Favs won that last race, either Irish thing or the thing of Ben Paulies that was nutted on the line, I don't think people would be bleating. I really don't. And it was a collapsed train, wasn't it? Which I think they cordoned off, and with the agreement of all participants, decided to continue. What's the problem? I really don't see what the problem with it was, but tell us why it's a problem. Me and all. Well, obviously. Yeah, of course, fucking shouldn't have run it, etc. But imagine if that had won, or the heavily bet Irish thing had won. I don't think you'd have that many people complaining, would you? I didn't see the problem. And as for Lydia sort of grilling the guy, I watched the interview. She didn't grill him. She just asked him a question. That was it. I mean, people are kind of, on social media in particular, which as we know isn't real life, people are making out that she's like, David Frost questioning Nixon. I mean, fuck's sake, she's just doing her job. I just don't get the idolatry that's afforded to her. I'm missing something clearly, but she just said it's not acceptable. And he went, no, yeah, blah, blah, blah. That's her job. Fucking hell. That's where we come to with racing journalism. But someone doing their job is, wow, that's incredible, Lydia.
I get it, because the reason we're all saying, or a lot of people say, wow, or that like a grilling, is because no one else has got the balls to say anything.
Precisely. She's competent. That's it. She's a competent journalist, a very safe pair of hands, but she's a group class performer in a field of platers because there literally is no one else. So I think, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man's king, but I just don't get the kind of the idolatry. Some people sliding off their seats with excitement. Oh my God, this, that, and the other. She asked the bloke a question. He handled it quite well, I thought. I mean, what do they want? Sort of geophysical surveys of every track between every race? Clearly, things are going to go wrong. They dealt with it. All right, it was suboptimal, wasn't it? It wasn't the best way, but they got the race off. No one died.
It's good to have conflicting opinions. I don't like being in a echo chamber. I have a different view, which is that when something like that happened, it was like that Bonnie Blues flange, weren't it? Got his hand so far up, down, and I'm thinking, can you imagine if an horse, even though they doled it off, but let's say in a different area, if an horse then comes down because the track's starting to break up in that vicinity, if you like, the optics then are fucking awful if they've ran the race.
But nothing happened. No. Nothing happened. And you see that risk exists any track, any time. So the only way around that is a complete geophysical survey of every track between every race that takes 12 hours. If you want to do, I mean, it's inherent risk that, they asked the participants, they called it off, it worked. And obviously they're going to spend a load of money and they probably are going to do a full kind of geophys survey on areas of concern.
I think Monday they've got the experts coming in or whatever.
There's a reason for it, but I just thought, okay, it wasn't great, but they got the race. But the way people particularly on social media, reacting, you think it's sort of that he'd bombed an orphanage. He spoke to the people concerned. They're all happy to continue. They called it off. It worked. It just finished a bit late, and the photo finish was a joke, the print. But look, you could see with your naked eye that we'd fucking done our money.
Just before I come to John for his take on it. Jason Ayres been on, and he says, not a question, but regarding Cheltenham yesterday, he was on course and it wasn't that dark. Yeah. As for the photo, I backed the second and it was clearly beaten as they passed the post. Yeah. I was so confident that I walked back to the car, even before they called the result. Yeah. So this is a guy that was there. I agree, Jason. It was beat. I don't know if you remember a while ago at Cheltenham, there was a similar scenario where it was too dark for the judge to see the photo. Yes. One had clearly won by a head, but they called it a dead heat because they hadn't got a clear enough print to be able to make that call. Now, so you've got to be consistent, and Cheltenham were not consistent on that occasion. I was hoping for justice refunds.
Yeah, me and all. Yeah, fucking dirty bastards. But twas ever thus. But yeah, I just don't get the kind of confected outrage on social media. Oh, it's terrible, the bloke's an idiot, incompetent, heads must roll. Yeah. Well, no. Yeah. It happens all the time. He did what he had to do. Everybody agreed. There you go. And it went off without incident.
We've got lots of opinions on the last race, but I'd like to get John's in first before we come to the listeners' points of view. John, what was your take on running that last race?
Ooh, I'm going to get called a Lydia fan by you, I'm afraid.
Go on.
Well, for me, she did right to call them out. She probably remembers Doncaster when Madraco fell in the Portland.
Yep.
Joe Toy collapsed train. and all the subsequent problems because the drains all around started collapsing. She put the interview up yesterday on Twitter. I mean, one idiot pointed out that 30 people on the ground staff were better placed to judge this than her. All right, the ground staff. You're talking about a collection of people who were told to move railings, drag ground sheets, fill in divots, throw sand on areas of ground. You know, I mean, the drainage engineering degrees are probably in the post, but they're not terribly imminent. She's been writing about racing professionally for 26 years at least, served on BHA committees, so I think she's well placed to know that the sort of shitstorm that this might have created if that drainage problem had been wider spread. And for me, whichever way you look at it, Cheltenham created a perilous situation that the sport didn't need to find itself. They keep telling us welfare is a top priority, but they behave as though they've never heard of the word. So what's it to be? You know, are they going to go down the welfare route or aren't they? After what looked a promising start, I think Pullen revealed himself as a bit high-handed and dismissive of legitimate concerns when he was challenged yesterday. Ask yourselves this. If they need a team of experts in on Monday to check the state of everything, why are they coming in if that race was safe to be run on Saturday?
Fair point.
Well, because they have to, don't they? I mean, ultimately,
that race shouldn't have been run then, should it? Because them experts needed to have a look.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But out of an abundance of caution, of course. But it was safe to run that race on that day.
Run. I mean, he didn't need to run it. Nobody would have said that if he'd said, "Look, it's dark. We're fucked. We can't row it."
Yeah, and I'm not sure. I mean, I think he's more qualified than Lydia Hislop to talk about the management and of his course. Yeah, surely, and she's a racing journalist. Yes, she's been writing about it.
I think the issue was the risk involved as much as anything. He's absolute denial at the point of the interview that they had any idea what was the problem. You know, if they didn't know specifically what the problem, and they didn't know for a fact it was confined to that tiny part of the drainage system, they had no business going ahead for me.
I think risk is inherent in anything. I mean, there are unknown unknowns, aren't there, in any track, and you can run races without incident, and all of a sudden something falls over. I mean, just life.
Look, I've spoken who's taking part. I'm happy to take a chance. They're happy to take a chance. Yep. But said it like that. All right, that shuts everybody up. But
yeah, I mean, I think he could have handled the interview better, but ultimately that seems to have been what happened. You know, they took a straw poll, they took a view, and the participants were happy. That's what he needed to have said. But I don't think he handled it as well as he might. But I think he's better qualified than Lydia Hislop to determine what's safe on his course. I mean, she's a journalist; she writes about it, he does it. And there's a difference between writers and doers, isn't there?
I think she was aware of the mess it was likely to create if something else happened.
Of course. She didn't dig skeletons out over for George Gently, though, did she? Funny
I know
that.
where you're coming from on that.
Yeah. Selective outrage. That's what it is. This is awful.
Then, we've had people criticise Lydia for sort of having a go at this Clark and this, that, and the other, and people have actually said, bizarrely, she wouldn't do it to somebody like Ender. And it's like, as John pointed out this morning, it's literally on our title track. Her having a go at Ender and Ender falling out.
She did. She did it once and got bitten.
Oh yeah.
And backed off. So she had a nibble, but it's not been it's not been replicated since, has it? Because there's loads of things that the racing press, we're not singling Lydia out, we're talking about the racing journalists. There's loads of things they're going to have a go at, but it seems to me they pick and choose.
Lots of pick and choose though, Chris, because if they were like us and had everybody, we'd know what to tell it.
Well, that's very true. That's very true.
This time, quite opinionated on this, and on pro, they should have run it, and negative, they shouldn't have run it. So I'll just read a few out. Dupont Tom says, is racing the only big sport where players get a say in if conditions are playable? Rugby, golf, cricket, football, it's down to the referee, umpires, and the groundsman. Is it right that jockeys and trainers say they want the race, so get the race on? Where do you sit on that?
Well, I don't think it's quite right that the referees will have the ultimate decision, which is what the clerk of the course ultimately had. The buck stops with him, but I think it's inconceivable that they wouldn't take the view in any other sport of the participants as to whether it's safe to continue. They'd be mad not to, wouldn't they, in the decision making? So, but they're right. It is the clerk of the course's final decision, and he made that decision having consulted all those people who are best placed to provide him with that
And thereby
information.
absolving himself of sole responsibility.
Well, it's ultimately the buck stops with him. But any manager of any description,
he was really
takes
keeping
abuse
the
of staff.
conversation, though, wasn't he? They
Well,
several
of
senior
course.
racing figures.
Well, you would, wouldn't you? Well, yeah. I mean, and they are, you would hope, well placed to decide whether it was safe or not. They took a view. He took the ultimate decision. They ran it. Nobody died. It finished late. It was a crappy photo finish print, but yeah, it wasn't ideal, but it wasn't as catastrophic as I think social media would have you believe.
Out because of it. They weren't all in agreement. That's the thing. So the ones that ran did, but Ender took his horse out of it.
We'll have a race course gallop round Newbury now with that. So that
find another pothole. Yeah. So Adam Swan says apparently they are trialling a new system for cameras at the finishing line. They did have a crystal clear image of that photo yesterday, which probably explains why the result was announced. But they didn't show that image because they're trialing it. So I don't know why they didn't bother. Yeah. Apparently now they've got crystal clear proper imaging, which obviously get it going. Don't trial it, just do it.
I mean, you could see on the TV that it got nutted, couldn't you? I mean, that wasn't one of those where it's like, Christ, they called it wrong or they bottled it. It was, it won a short head,
I saw it real time and on the freeze. I said to the producer, bastard, across the line.
Yeah, exactly. As I did. Three sick emojis as they crossed the line. Yeah.
Ellen Shee Racing. Officials sunset occurred before the finish of the last at Cheltenham yesterday. Clearly not acceptable for so many reasons. She says, how difficult is it to have a rule which states in national hunt racing a finish must occur X minutes or more before official sunset? I'm not sure about that. The only thing I'd say is, for example, in winter especially, the light, on some days when it's grim and you've got really dark clouds, it feels like it's dark at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. When it's sunny, it's not so bad. The problem is with that rule is that maybe go like cricket and have a lightometer and just say, and have a reading, take a reading like they're doing cricket and come off the bad light. And if that reading then don't pass, then at least then you've got some kind of safety measure. But then we're going down the whip road again, aren't we? We're dealing in numbers again. People will say it's safe to race, and then the lightometer will say, no, it's not safe to race because there's a number and we rule by numbers. So it's a difficult one, Helen. Steve Muster's been on. He says, was that fella at Cheltenham looking for Calvin's going stick? I don't know, but it was a good old that. I enjoyed that. Like going down there.
It was like James Elliott getting a fallout, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Got the back leg,
good
give
old
it a pull.
Creatures, great and small. Yeah, I did have a chuckle at that. Korak's been on. Everyone's praising Lydia for getting stuck into poor Penfold, the Cheltenham clerk of the course, but he's an easy target to get stuck into, it seems. Do you think the future racing journalist will get stuck into Gosden, the Tory Ender? Well, we've already covered that. AP or another big name with such a vociferous turn? I agree with Korak. No. The problem is that when you've got huge racing personalities or trainers or jockeys that are very big, the racing media tends to back off as a rule of thumb. They don't want to ruffle their feathers, so to speak. And I don't know if that's fear of not getting further interviews or content, because that's how racing is. If you've sort of,
I have a theory about this.
Go on.
I think because the racing media are quite a tight little club, as our Catherine Fry can testify after she was sent.
Absolutely. I have no time for Cheltenham.
Sent to Coventry by the press room at Cheltenham.
Yep.
One person going it alone and savaging one of the top people in an interview, say, for example, they got stuck into Gosden over his reprehensible decision to keep sending donations to Matt Hancock. Hello, all at Clarehaven, if you're listening. And then Gosden refused to do interview. They'd probably all get at that person.
Yeah. Well, we know how racing works.
I think that could play on certain journalists' minds.
We've certainly seen it ourselves, which we'll come on to later in the show when discussing a recent article in the Racing Post about Matt Chapman. So, Cora, you make a fair point. Racing's a bit different to football, for example. It just seems like football pundits can say what they want, and that's it. But racing media and pundits can't.
So always been part of the territory in football, hasn't it? But you go back to like the start of televised racing in the 60s and 70s. I mean, you had Clive Graham, Jimmy Lindley. Nobody had ever been riding better. They had lovely hands. It was this, that
was beautiful. That
nobody got enough rides that they deserved. It was
does well with limited opportunities.
I mean, as a kid, I used to tune into BBC Racing, and all I listened to the paddock for were just Jimmy Lindley. I laughed out loud when he said "lovely pair of hands."
Lovely pair
Every
of hands,
jockey literally riding had a lovely.
Yeah, we really settle this. Really settle.
Brian Rouse is excellent at settling fillies, and what a lovely.
What
a lovely pair of hands.
Yeah, you can stop one like dead. Yeah.
Gary Cheesefinger's been on. We've had the best two names that follow Barsters. Steve Mustard, he's ranked number 1 in the boxing ratings. The contender to his crown is Gary Cheesefinger. There's them two.
Yeah.
They should face off, them two. Mustard versus Cheesefinger.
It's half a fucking buffy, isn't it?
And he said, RE Farce at HQ yesterday in the last. Since when have the participants had a say on health and safety matters? How did they know there was one single hold? Does HQ BHA give a fuck about jockey horse welfare despite the PR machine in overdrive after the Sagino incident? Shameful seems his opinion. We can see there's a split here. It's not cut and dried whether that race should have been run or not. I looked at a poll by Francis Keogh today, which is it's like over 500 votes, so it's quite meaningful. I think it's like 65% said no, it shouldn't have taken place. 34% said it should have took place. In a way, I'm sadistic, and I sort of agree with Chris. If Fav had bolted up by 10 wickets...
of course they should. Yeah, I get it ready. Yeah, of course they should have run it. Yeah. Fucking back towards finishes second. Well, fucking nightmare. Yeah. So there's always an element of that in these sort of polls, etc. But you could legitimately call it either way, couldn't you? I mean, there's no overwhelming answer to
Simon
that question.
Benson mentioned something. Given that national hunt racing is inherently a risk to every horse, i.e. fences, hurdles. So why do we stop race for a pothole when there's fences in the way?
Well, you can say fences.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. Yeah, you can. I mean,
I've had races on flat abandoned for, like, holes appearing. Well, Catterick, it happened, didn't it? When...
What's Simon advocating? Putting fucking bear traps out.
Barbed wire fences, that's the way forward, I reckon.
Just randomly. You don't know where they are. Outside.
Exactly, just cover it with grass and there's a big hole, It'll disappear. If I've gone 20 clear, it's disappeared. Fucking down.
More racing questions. So, PJ Butler has been on. Is National ever going to face up to the fact it is running out of equine participant? This is actually true, as we can see from the actual foaling numbers, etc. It's a worry because Nick Davies thinks we haven't got enough horses really to fill the programme, and that includes, we're not just singling out national hunt racing, although that is quite adversely affected.
Do you think we're not getting enough ex-flat racers because everybody's breeding to these little fucking speed rats that got stud with no proven ability and very little substance?
We're going a bit more... It's kind of weird because Australia buy all our stayers for a Melbourne cap. We tend to breed like 10 furlong and under now. So, like you said, there's less and less. If the Baron retires and Kirsten Rousing stops breeding the stamina-laden offspring that she gets from her mares, I don't know. It's scary, like, for the future of national hunt in that respect. I agree, John. That's a very good point.
Because none of them are equipped to go early.
No. Can't believe the numbers in the Great Yorkshire Chase yesterday. That's why I even reviewed it. I think, what was it, 8 runners?
Used to be a 20-runner affair every year.
Without fail. 8 runners. Incredible. You'll get misnomers every year, but I do think we've got problems.
Yeah, we have major ones.
Daniel R., which sponsors are needed for the Fez after yesterday?
Fucking Daniel.
Yeah, he said the Metro Rod Triumph.
Ever-ready batteries as well.
If anybody at Dino Rod's listening to this is it. This is your chance. This is how you get famous.
I know Rod
Just
Gold
latch on
Cup.
to any
Yeah, that's what you
Cheltenham
should
sort
have.
of 410 race tweets. Start retweeting them. I can do your PR. I can do that. Here's a job.
Is it? I'll do it. I got a job. I need a job.
Send
Yeah,
money.
give me one.
Send money.
Yes, send money. Yes.
Ice Cold Cube says, watching the slow old boats jog round Presbury Park on trials day, and the fraud that is Dan fucking Skelton wanging on about loving the game. Yeah, right, he says. I'm surely not alone in quietly hoping that hole gets much bigger and deeper in the next 4 weeks. Bring on the flat.
Well, it'd have to be bigger to get him in, wouldn't it? Fucking hell, yeah.
I'll tell you what, when old Dan says goodbye to planet Earth, like in many years to come, it's going to be a big fucking coffin, isn't it? It's going to be expensive, that one, if they use the deer wood and not like these.
Yeah, wood, not fucking cardboard.
Not these pure cremation adverts, you know.
Yeah, dig your own hole. There you are, that's it. Fill them up with bodies of punters. That's what they should do.
Still cremation, you only get a bag and a bottle of paraffin, don't you?
Yeah, you have to supply your own matches, though, don't you? If you're the budget
They're going to
plan,
put us in black bin bags, aren't they, when we go?
Wouldn't even bother with that. Just drag you out the front for the bin man, isn't it?
Just take us to local hunt and feed us to the fucking dogs.
Absolutely. The hounds. Feed them to the hounds. Yeah,
quite
more
right.
questions. This is tremendous this week. Finn Nickel, thoughts on YouTuber Cal Freezy generating 750,000 views with his interview on ITV Racing. Like Derbyshire said, who, by the way, I watched his show on ATR, it's quite good. And I think if they build up the chemistry with them four, you've got to keep the same people, though. You can't switch because then the chemistry dies. And I think it could work. Matt Williams is a shrewd cookie. As we know, he works with Michael Owen, and he's been a professional punter for a long time. SD makes money on the shows, which takes some bloody doing. He's got the energy of Alan Wicker. I liked it. It's nice background TV to have on.
Some of his tin fish recommendations have been absolutely fantastic.
So well played, Sky Sports Racing, for doing something a little bit different to your sort of wooden presenters that you've got. There's a lot of dead wood there, and I thought that was refreshing. So credit again where it is due. Finn, going back to your point on YouTuber, I mean, obviously you know what Chris is like with the Grey Pound. I think, like Stephen Derbyshire says, the point about passion, as long as you're passionate for the sport and you're not just there for, look at me, I'm having a glass of champagne and
a fight.
A fight, Fight with the gypsies at the Ebo meeting.
Yes, quite.
Not the fuck out of here.
Yeah, not fucking take any man on this fucking side now, you cunt. They're a fucking bastard. I'm sorry, I didn't catch any of that.
That's probably you don't. When they actually speak to you, you don't.
No, until a fucking big right-hander comes sailing away, then you work that out, all the keeper rings and all the fucking sovereigns plunging into your face,
It's like winning by a Ratner's shop, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all Elizabeth Duke full-on stuff. And no, they don't have any rubbish. It's all fucking good gear. There's
no messing about them. But Finn, absolutely 100%. I think it's good. We need new blood. But at the same time, as Chris has said on previous shows, we have to do the full shebang. It isn't just getting more young ones in. It's getting more old ones in. They've got the cash.
Yeah. It is. And social media isn't real life. And we've made this point ad nauseum. And we have said, that look at you remember this, John, when Corbyn ran for PM, overnight people were saying, it's going to be brilliant when he's PM, etc. And they were astonished that the echo chamber that was Twitter at the time was wrong, because there are lots and lots and lots of people who still don't use social media to any great degree, other than perhaps, Facebook to correspond with friends and family. So social media, it is a guide, but it isn't real life. And you look at the right-wing parties in this country, they've got massive online followings, but the problem is it doesn't translate into real-world kind of activity. That's the problem. So it's a good guide, but it doesn't tell you anything particularly.
Thanks for the question, Finn. John Condliffe says, do you think there should be a separate stand at racecourses for people who are interested in the racing? Yesterday, I had to move at Cheltenham 3 times during a race as I couldn't hear commentary as people were too interested in talking and drinking. John sounds like him that Luke Harvey interviewed at Ascot.
Fucking sounds like me.
Yeah, John stood there in stands. If, like, say, roving reporter for Afternoon on ITV went up to him and said, "Are you having a good afternoon, sir?" "No." Surrounded by idiots.
Yeah. Rubbish. I want my money back. It's crap. Yeah. Done with money. Cold blood. Yeah.
Let's go do something else. We can't air that. I know what John's saying. That's why a lot of, again, we come back to the Grey Pound. Chris mentions about pensioners. They don't like to go racing on Saturdays. They like to go racing midweek when there's not full of drunks and.
But this is it, a dual strategy. You can pack your Saturdays out with occasional race goers, young people, etc. But, midweek's where your problem is, and it's the pensioners that who've got the potential to attend midweek race meetings. That's it. Saturdays are great, and I don't think you have any real attendance problems at the showcase meetings at the weekend. But it's it's the Tuesdays and Wednesdays that I think need to be addressed. So you can do both. We're not saying that you should not try and attract future generation race goers. Nobody's saying that, but it seems to be. They seem to fetishise the youth over everybody else, and I think that's short-sighted.
I can't really disagree with anything said there. Long-faced punter's been on. The Barsters has been following the sport a lot longer than myself. It has always been frowned upon to celebrate your horse winning due to another one falling, pulling up, or getting injured.
Oh, has it?
Are people just becoming suffer if they forgot that jumps racing does come with some risk?
Go to a betting shop and you'll see how fallacious that argument is. Go to a betting shop and a fav or a well bet horse that no one's on falls over. You'll hear people cheer. And unfortunately, it's nice to think that people don't do that, but they do. Go to a betting shop.
Honest here, I'm normally quite dead inside. As long as I'm not on a terrible run, I'm normally dead inside to results. I might type in to you guys. I might say, "Oh, well, that was a shit ride" or whatever. I'm usually relatively is what it is.
Sanguine
because that's how you should be. Take defeat like you do victory, and it's just the same. You shouldn't get overexcited. But I must confess, the one that I backed at Fakenham the other week.
that one,
where the one that fell at the last, it was 5 clear. We'd no chance of catching it.
No,
when he unseated at the last, I went, yeah!
Yeah, I was right up to the last. I was going, drop you cunt, and it dropped. Well, get it ready,
But that's... One of the betting shops, I had a magnificent fight broke out after this handicap chase at Leicester. We had a lad in there called Dickie Davis.
Hey!
And
it's a little bit grey.
This one was about 5 foot tall and the same width.
Big tash.
Yeah.
He was a 20-30 pounder race man, and he was having a terrible afternoon. He backed this favourite, and it was clear going to the last in this race at Leicester. Of course, it came down, and there's this lad called Frank who was in the shop, and he had an each-way bet on the one that was in second and got left in front. So of course he said, "Get down, you cunt." Yeah. And Dickie Davis just strode over towards him, absolutely silent. And just, a beautiful stroke across the yard, knocked him clean off his stone.
Jeez.
There you go, you see. So it's nice to think that people are sort of, worry about these things. But when money's involved, as you've said many times, Lee, the thing about money, bud, is it makes you do things you don't want to do.
There must have been a bookie, surely, when Annie Power came down, 2 out.
Yes.
There must have been the book, not just breathing a sigh of relief, but there must have been at least one book on track that says, "Get the fuck in."
Of course there would have been.
They took a battering. That would have actually killed a lot in the industry. And like when that came down, the relief on that for many a book must have been astronomical.
I think the best thing to do in them situations is if you're benefiting from one coming down at the last, just make a nondescript noise rather than forming words.
Like
that, And nobody really knows, do they? You might have backed it, you might not.
I've said it before, though. What I've done at course before, like if I've done my bollocks on a race, so like I've backed favourite and it's been sort of 3 out or whatever. So like if 50's perk, it's front in final furlong, you just roar it up and you just like hands in there. Come on, get it ready. Everyone's looking at you as they say, "You've backed that."
Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, big. Yeah, lumpy.
Yeah.
We've had lots
Good
on,
fun.
yeah.
Winds people up. A couple of pieces of info. Now, I'm not going to name the incumbents because, do you know what? With the Chapman hit piece, and this is the reason why, there's a stud, quite a decent stud as well, that are deliberately not filing their accounts. This could be the next shitstorm coming. And I could break the news who it is. I'm not going to, because they're probably stressed to fuck right now. Do they really need more meters? Like, they might not be able to do business on the back of, we've heard on a podcast that you're struggling, and it might make things more difficult for them than it already is. I don't think it's fair, but I think this year could see a lot of shitstorms as we predicted coming. And this is quite a decent stud. It's going to be sad to see. So I'm not going to name them, and I'm sorry about that. And you might think, well, that's just weak, but it's not, because anybody suffering financial stress and duress needs any more hassle. Sorry, I can't, especially like somebody in racing that they've put the time and effort into breeding horses, etc., etc. So no, I'm not going to name them. And the second one is a large ownership group. Again, I won't name them. That have got severe cash flow problems. They've got assets, but they've got no cash. Again, this is the sign of the times in racing. Things are really going to start hitting the fan. And I've got no joy or pleasure in naming either of these two.
And I think it's right. And people are going, oh, you've copped out. But I think you've got to remember that these businesses employ lots of ordinary people who rely on the salary just to stay above the line. And I think, yeah, it'd be easy to say it's X or Y, but bottom line is, what about the people that work there? They need to hang on in there. And I think anything you do by announcing it that may cause them to have difficulty securing future business impacts the people that are grafting.
How would I feel if, like, say, an employee that was, like, say, hanging on by the thread, said operations, they were still getting paid, but then they didn't get paid because of what we've said?
Yeah. Totally that. Exactly that. That's my view. And I know people would expect you to name them, blah, blah, blah. But the bottom line is we get nothing out of it anyway. No. And there are people there that may be on a Monday morning say, well, it's all come out now. I'm sorry, we're going to have to lay you off, or we're going to shut it, blah, blah, blah. And they lose their livelihoods. And
so we don't when want to you do see that. It from the shit houses at the Racing Post, it's a stud and an ownership group that are well known, both of them. Let them do all the fucking shit like they've done on Matt Chapman, in my opinion, this week. The Racing Post, for me, did a hit piece on us. We received hospitality for Thirsk. It was meant to be a day for tactical political gathering. And then the Racing Post made out that we were on the take and this, that and the other. John, the Racing Post, with Chapman's article, it's Matt Chapman getting into trouble with a taxman regarding a business concern he set up back in the day. We knew about this a long time ago. What is the point of saying anything when, to me, it's an absolute fucking non-story?
Well, this is basically somebody that's gone to the Post and shoved the shiv into Chapman because they've got a tax degree.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's been in the public domain for anybody that would care to dig for it for over 12 months. Somebody has stirred the shit for Matt Chapman at the Racing Post, and the Racing Post been all so happy to do a piece on it that throws a bit of shade.
Well, have you noticed the Racing Post are doing hit pieces on people they don't like? They're not doing hit pieces on anyone else. And don't say Dottore, because that's the difference. Dottore has left the taxman on. Chapman hasn't left the taxman on. If you read the article...
Well, he's in an area year, which I think is 5 to 6 years, where basically they're going to be monitoring everything he's fucking spending, so he's going to have hardly any disposable income. He's got a hell of a work ethic. He'll work like a bastard to get it paid back.
Yeah, and he is paid it back. That's my point. Yeah. It's not the same.
I don't think it's a story.
No, it's not. It's not a story. Why print it after all this time? Like, it's just bizarre. It's like as if it's some kind of hit piece that no one knows about. We knew about this a long time ago. But again, because of what Chapman's doing...
Yeah, it's more or less a case of, just in case anyone out there likes Matt Chapman, have a read of this. It leaves a really sour taste.
And before anyone says anything about, you've just had him on your show and that you're going to stick up for him, he ran a business. And don't get me wrong, Chapman is what Curly says, and I think this is fair, a bit of a turkey account merchant. He's gravy tray. He makes sure that he maximises his earning potential. He works for Paddy Power. He works for the Sun. Well, like you say, he works his arse off, basically, working for anybody. I have said in the past that this is what's wrong with the game. Gravy train merchants aren't really good. But, and I'm going to put a caveat on this, The difference with Chapman compared to some of the others on the gravy train, he's prepared to put his neck on the chopping block and actually say things against establishment. Hence the BHA thing with Julie Herring. Tried to get her on a show 3 or 4 times. She refused. He called her out for it. That's it. At least there is some kind of genuineness about the gravy train, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with that. Look, nobody's perfect. You know, he does take Paddy Power money. We've been pretty clear as to what we think of bookmaker ambassadors, but there is a lot more about him. And yeah, you know, is my view coloured by the fact that he's been on the show and I quite like him? Absolutely. And we sort of do tend to hold people we like and that people got some time for to, you know, different standards. I dare say if it was someone we didn't like, we might be a bit harsher on them. But look, he I don't think it's the crime of the century. Do you?
No.
I mean, businesses have corporate structures in place to, you know, prevent people being personally liable, officers of the company being personally liable for the debts of that company. And if those structures didn't legitimately exist, no one would run a business. If someone said, hey, you can set this business up, but if it goes under, which most businesses do, you're on the line for it personally. And, you know, I'm sure he could have ducked his responsibility somehow. I don't know how, but I'm sure he could have done. But if he's in some sort of time to pay, that's fair enough. Things go wrong.
He's even paid off all the creditors. It's just HMRC, which is now obviously then the loan repayments apparently were crippling him.
Yeah, the coupon on it. Yeah,
he's had to make decisions. It's like everyone. Yeah. If you can't repay a loan or whatever,
well, didn't you borrow the money to pay the tax?
I don't know actually.
I think that was the upshot. He borrowed the money now to pay the fucking tax.
Right. Yeah, I think you can get factoring, but look, the bottom line is businesses go under all the time for all kinds of reasons. There's no suggestion there's any fraud or anything. It just went wrong for all kinds of reasons, as businesses do. And
this is another idea why white label products are a bad example because of business. Because Chapman was obviously operating MC Yeehaw bets under Ben Keith's license. Why does Ben Keith get off scot-free? You're the license holder. It was under, I think, Star Sports was Yeehaw bet. These white labels were like priced up bet is, again, Keith, you shouldn't be able to have all these white labels online. I don't think it's very clear and fair. I think you should have one company, and that's that, under that license, and that license can only stretch to that company. You can't have people operating under your license, but then nothing's said, nothing's done, I believe. I mean, maybe it has, I don't know. Maybe something happened. People shouldn't get off scot-free, let alone the incumbent that's using the license. Rapp's been on, he says, Chapman will be an easy target. Reading to it, though, and it seems his company was engaged with HMRC, paying it back, what he's owed, and he's on schedule with all such payments. We're also hot to put the boot in when someone is down. Absolutely, Pete Butler, you're spot on. Bert Doncaster, not a fan of Chapman, but the Racing Post article seems personal, given the amount of real stories they ignore. They're just a tabloid tipping sheet now, aren't they? Yes, absolutely pro-industry, pro-BGC, pro-big corp.
I'm quite proud of our listeners here. They seem to be nailing this.
These are all views. It's not like I've just selectively.
No, but they're in the public.
If someone had said, Chapman should be strung up, then I'd have said it, but no one has. So I think it's a non-story, but there we go. People will make it what they will and say that he's vermin, this, that, and the other, but I don't class someone as vermin that's basically paying their requirements by law, kept up with it, and that's it. And he's having to work like a bastard now to obviously make sure he can keep on paying.
Well, I think the vermin's on the other end of this.
Well, yeah, we know that. They did it on us. That's my point. The Racing Post are vile. Moving on to the final stretch, as they say, of the show. It's been a good long show again, but you've made it. You've sent the questions. On to a bit of funnies now. Jack Cousin's been on, and he obviously is a big fan of you, John. Worst Corrie characters of all time.
Bobby.
I don't even know who Bobby is.
No, who's Bobby?
He's that kid with the fucking walking head that won Britain's Got Talent that was a comedian. Yeah. They gave him a role and he couldn't act and he was absolutely pointless and you could almost tell through the medium of television that he had a BO problem as well, and I don't know how that worked, but it did.
I haven't watched Corrie since I was probably in my teens. I'm going back Len Fairclough and
thumbs up, Len Fairclough.
Well, he was a bad man, wasn't he?
Thumbs up. Remember that?
Yeah. I might have been later than that because I think one of the last episodes I ever watched when were with Gail Tilsley, the madman that tried to kill them all.
Drove into the
Good
canal.
him, the airline pilot, wasn't he? Richard, was his name Richard? I think his character,
He was
Richard
good.
Lindsay.
He was Mr. Hopwood in Grange Hill.
He was. That's right. He was.
Sorry, Jack.
We don't know what you're on about.
I ain't time to watch soaps. I do Bar Stewart's Edge and Early Bird.
It's not the programme, it's Twitter Live when it's on. That's where you want to be. Yeah. Fantastic.
Before we go to the last three questions, special mention for Cook on Sunday. Great Parmo recipe from John this week, even though he can't have a bar. But it was a fun show to do. Give us a like and follow our sibling podcast, Cook on Sunday 1. That's on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Please give us a follow and just try and listen to them because we are pretty similar to this podcast.
We'll soon be branching into food reviews.
Yes, you will be.
There's good video content from the producer on there. We think it'll grow over time. So give that a like and a follow because it's again, remember, mental health. It's good to listen to us. We're upbeat.
Reminds you how good your life is compared to ours.
Yeah. 3 questions to finish. Bill Carson, always a decent one. He goes, I did have a question in mind after yesterday's Cheltenham fiasco. However, I got that drunk last night that I got the wrong bus home to a different town. I ended up in Bury. Any similar experience? Yeah, it did happen to me, Bill, once. When I was living in Sheffield, it was easier to get the train to York than to any other form of transport, and then I'd walk from the station to the track. There was one afternoon I had absolutely shedfuls after having a great day. Champagne, vodka, anything. I didn't care what it cost. I left like Dan Aykroyd in Trading Places as Father Christmas. That's what I looked like when I left the track. Salmon down my trousers, all that shit. Gets on train, and then I'd obviously zoned out, woke up, and it says, this train's arriving at Peterborough,
Oh, my God. What a place to end up.
Yeah, so obviously then, fucking hell, Peterborough, like, I had to get off and then obviously get another ticket and then get back up to Sheffield. So I got home very late that night. Any for you guys where you've done that?
Never for me. I've never been a drinker, so I have no examples of waking up drunk from somewhere. So no,
you'll have
not
a
for
military grade liver then, Chris.
I am. I'll live forever, mate. I'll keep it like the brain of Morbius. It will live decades past my demise. My liver will be perfect.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Yeah, I've been at Raker races one day and I had a particularly good day and gone for a few drinks afterwards. And I woke up the next morning to the sound of the bloke's voice shouting, breakfast ready. I threw myself out of bed, opened the curtains, there was loads of rolling fields and hills and things. It turned out I was in Danby on the North Yorkshire Moors. And then the sheep started moving. This fairly rotund young lady appeared under the sheets. So I said, who's that shouting breakfast ready? She said, oh, that's me dad.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so I quickly dashed downstairs and straight out the front door. Went to a phone box as they were in them days and phoned for a taxi.
I've got to get up. I've got to get ready for school.
Well, I had a 70 quid taxi ride back home.
All good that, John. Woody's been on. He said, Councillor Woodman, favourite to lose every election going forwards.
He's in the political wilderness, he is, isn't he? In the wilderness.
Yeah.
It's like Churchill between the wars, isn't it?
Yeah.
Worst ever put down you've had or heard from a teacher. I witnessed a teacher scream at a kid with cerebral palsy. He was a genetic catastrophe.
God. Oh my God, that's horrific, isn't it? That's horrendous. I witnessed quite a lot of casual racism from teachers over the years. Yeah. And certainly, I remember one teacher saying, he said, well, that's not what you might do in your country, but we don't do things like this here. This is England. And the kid said, I was born 5 miles down the road. That's what he said. But he said, yeah, that was naked racism. I remember that sort of thing. But yeah, that's a horrible put down, Woody's one.
Yeah,
God.
Time's gone by. The PE teachers we had, I think, were the worst. Like, as in, it's like military camp. Like it's not like it is today, where it's all nicey-picey. Keys, get a fucking move on. The football guy that if you started pissing about, he'd say, "Are you some kind of spastic or something?"
Yeah, you heard that loads of times, or some kind of fucking puff, and all that's crikey.
Fat mate that I used to love to bits, even though I was a lot fitter than him, I used to run with him when we used to go on cross countries just for because he used to chat and shit. We were last two because obviously he was shit at running.
He was like tailed off, yeah.
PE teacher would run behind us and be saying to him, "Come on, bathtub, get a move on."
Yeah, God, dear. It's like abuse now, it'd be regarded, wouldn't it? I mean, these people they'd be sacked and they're probably imprisoned. Right.
John, anything for you? Worst put downs?
I had this PE teacher who for 3 years kept referring to me as Langy.
Langy?
Oh, God.
And, when everybody else was saying Lengy. Yeah. Eventually, I corrected him. He said, "Oh, thanks for that." He said, "If you were ever going to be of any consequence, I'd take note of it."
Oh, withering put down. That's withering.
It was like brutality back then. If Gen Z saw this today, what we actually went through and what we had to like go through at school. Head flushed out toilet initiation as like a second year. Imagine this now. My son's had his head flushed down toilet. And
flushed down the bottom.
My mother said, "Well, it's good grounding."
Yeah, these things are character building.
Character building, son. Get used to it. Different times. Anyway, final question goes to Steve Mustard. We give him two questions. Because he's got a good name. For one night only, the Barstewards have been put in charge of the TV schedules. What classic shows are you treating us to? Perhaps you could include one of your favourite films as well. Right, from 7 o'clock onwards, what would probably need 7 o'clock slot?
I think you have a bit of a variety show, like Live from Her Majesty's or something like that.
Could do. Yeah. You could do.
Yeah.
Ain't Half Hot, Mum. Stick that on.
Yeah.
That's not
that can get us closed down.
Yeah, at 7:30 there'll be no further transmissions. Never been repeated. That never.
I've noticed that.
Yeah.
8 o'clock slot. What we're doing in that one?
All the shows in the Benny Hill slot.
Benny Hill.
That now,
magic. That was Benny Hill. Yeah, we'll have that.
Benny Hill for an hour.
I'm unanimous at 8 o'clock. I'm going to ditch news because news is shit.
Boring.
We don't want news anymore at that time.
No.
We've got the 6 o'clock news. We don't need a 9 o'clock one as well. So the 9 o'clock slot for me would be Vida's in Pet.
Yeah, you like a bit of that, don't you? That's a bit of you, that
is. It's amazing, that.
Bit of continuity in it, wait to see.
Yeah, it's good, that. 9 o'clock, Chinese Detective. Got to have that, haven't you? David Yip.
Oh, David Yip, yeah.
Yeah, Chinese Detective. What the fuck was that about? The Chinese Detective. So we'll have a bit of that. Yeah.
Well, it was Chinese and there was a detective,
That's true, yes.
So
well pointed out. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Thanks for clarifying.
10 o'clock. It depends what night you're on. If you're going towards weekend, I'd have Hammer House or Horror.
What about
Go on.
Dave Allen at Large?
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
That was good late night comedy, wasn't it? Kids had to be in bed though, because there was a talk.
Tales of the Unexpected, John.
It could do that. Singing Detective, you could have that. Remember that? Dennis Potter's Singing Detective.
Joanne Woolley.
Oh, yeah, fucking greasing up his Corey in bed. He's going to think something. Ted Heath speeches, come on, think something boring. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, that'd do.
We'll have a bit of that.
11 o'clock film. I'd do like a Clint Eastwood series, Any Which Way But Loose or Dirty Harry.
Yeah, you like that. Yeah.
Do you remember them Red Triangle films on Channel 4?
Viewer discretion advised. Yeah, the old Red Triangle.
How about Freaks from that?
Yeah. Could do that.
That was good, wasn't it? About the circus with everybody that was born with misshaped.
You could have that. National Lampoon's Animal House. We could have that bit of comedy. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, listeners, get in touch on Twitter thread. Let's hear your TV favourites of the past. Cheer us all up. I bet there's some belters. We've not even included Bruce Forsyth Play Your Cards Right.
No.
Good game,
exactly. Fucking 3, 2, 1. That was impenetrable, wasn't it? Yeah, I mean, listen, we could go on all night without a break.
Yeah, absolutely. 3, 2, 1. The clues that made no clue whatsoever.
Impossible. Absolutely impossible.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, Poirot wouldn't have won that.
No, Toby tailed off.
Poirot and Sherlock Holmes would be out of jobs, wouldn't they?
I'm fucked if I know. Yeah. I'm fucked if I know. Yeah.
Fucking Miss Marple even tried and failed.
Yeah, no hope. Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed this show. I know it's a long one. Sorry about that. But honestly, we thank you so much for your questions. You are what makes this show, because you provide the content. We hopefully provide the entertainment now and again. That's all from us this week. Bye for now.